Welcome back. I hope everyone's feeling good. It's not getting too much. Sun's out. Always feels a bit better when the sun's out, doesn't it? I think I'm getting a reflection of the glasses. So today I think we're going to do something a little bit different, making something for Axel. I have his dog bone, but when he's eating, he sort of pushes it around the kitchen floor, like most dogs do. So I think I'm going to make a wee stand for him that raises it up a little bit and stops him from pushing the bowl around the kitchen. As usual, the law states we'll start with a brew. Having the brew at the beginning, it gives you a little bit of time to work it all out in your head. You got to remember, I make all this up as I go along, so gives me a little bit of time. But hopefully, it'll all work out all right. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'll finish my brew and we'll get started there. To start with, what we have to do is select a piece of timber that's going to work with this. Now I've got two bits here. I have an oak mantelpiece, an old oak mantelpiece, or we have a very thick joist here, and I mean it is very thick. It's, let me tape, $800mm, no sorry, 80mm, a little over 3 inches thick. I think that might be a bit thick, but we'll see once I work it out in my head. Now the old mantelpiece, or the old oak piece, is 8 inches wide by 1.5 inches. So let's have a look here. The base is a little under 9 inches, 22 centimeters. The rim, on the inside of the rim, is 24.5 centimeters, 9.5 inches. Now we want this to drop down so it sits on the rim, so if we make the hole make the hole 23.5 centimeters, which is 9.25 inches. Now we don't have that with this. We've only got 8 inches. But do we have enough to cut this in half, glue it together, and still get the legs out of it? And there's the question. Now if we leave 10 centimeters on each side, that's going to give us 42.5 centimeters, or 16.75 inches. So 42.5 84, 85. For the two halves. That's going to leave us 51.5 centimetres. Now, so that's going to be 26 centimetres. Yeah, 26 centimetres. Is that going to be high enough? If we put a rebate in the bottom for the legs. I'm going to lose a little bit if we cut them on the angle, but yeah, that's what we're going to do. I will move this one. So this is what we're going to use. I've decided, executive decision, but remember, all final decisions are subject to change. Slightly bored there, but I actually like that. So it'll be this side I'd want to flatten. Now this has got all I think I'll run through the planer. That'll do. Got the majority of it off. So now what we need to do is measure out our pieces. Now what did we say? Where did I put my tape measure? There it is. What did we say? So 42.5, didn't we? Okay, 2 legs on the top. Now, yep, it might be a bit high, that we can sort out at a later date. First things I want to do though is to get these two glued up together and in clamps. Okay, what I've done is cut them down to length, run them through the surface planer, bit of glue, couple of clamps on the side just to keep them aligned, and we can set that to one side to dry. Now, these feet, they're not the same, so I need to make them the same. First off, what I'm going to do is chamfer them to 15 degrees so that the bed lies flat but the legs just arch out just a little bit. So I'll do that now. Okay. All I've done there is on the miter saw, tilted the angle of the saw over to 15 degrees and cut down, and then just run them again through that surface planer. Now remember, you've got to do the opposite on each leg so that it doesn't go that shape. It has to be that shape. So they're not exactly the same, so I can actually trim them down a bit. The height's the same, but the length's on, so I'm going to run them through the table saw, I think. Now that we have the feet exactly the same, I can give them a good sanding down. In fact, I'm going around over the edges, I think, first. Yeah. So, out with the router. Okay. Now a bit of sanding. Okay, so I'm trying something new here. I'm going to try and do a voiceover. Now that the top the glue's dried, we can actually take it out of the clamps. And just make sure that it's dried securely and it's not going to fall in half. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a round over around each of the edges, just to take the sharp edges off and make it pretty. Just with a palm router, we round over a bit and just take your time. Remember, safety is important. And just round over all the way around. There we are, nicely rounded over. Now we'll give it a bit of a sand. Now my sander, I don't know what it is, but the hook and loop on it is rubbish now. I think I'm going to have to get a new pad for it, because every so often you'll be working away at it and all of a sudden the sanding disc just flies out and away it goes. But yeah, quick sand over. Now we need to mark out where we want the bowl. Now I want it pretty centered, so we'll measure out and see if we can get it as centralized as we can. I probably could have done this by eye, you know. Just looked at it and went, one eye closed, because that always makes it better, you know. One eye closed and just centralized it. But yeah, once you get it where you want it to be, all I'm going to do is just faff about here, and yeah, once you're where you want it to be, quick circle line round it. Your pencil line right round, give you a perfect circle. Now, the thing is, how do we cut out the circle in the centre of a board? What I do have is this circle cutting jig with a router. Now it's cheap. I got this off Temu, and I think it was only £4 or whatever. But what it does allow you to do is put a central pin in that piece that I'm just moving up there. Put the palm router in, tighten it up. You only want it just literally poking through for the first pass. Get it lined up with where you want it to be, and put a central pin in. Now I'm just going to use a nail. You see, I'm just trying to rejig it and make sure that it's in the right place. And just grab hold of a nail and pin it through the centre of that adjustable bit. There's probably a name for it, you know, and I have no idea what the name is, but yeah. Nice taps. And we're going to have a go to see if this is going to work. So, onto the router, lift it up, just plunge it down just that little bit. And we'll just spin it on the central pivot. As you can see, I'm taking my time and nice and slow. I don't want to, when a bit's travelling at what, 20,000 revolutions per second or whatever it does, you don't want it to be flying out at you. So yeah, just quick spin round. Just double check, make sure I'm in the right place, quick hoover, and just lowering the bit down just a tiny bit each time, tightening up and giving it another pass round. Now I didn't want to go right the way through. First off, the router was struggling at this point, so I decided, right, what I'll do is, now that I've got the disc pretty much sorted, I will take off my router guide, take it over to the drill press, drill a hole in the with the slot, and then just go around with the jigsaw and take the centerpiece out with the jigsaw. Now I wanted to leave a little bit of meat on the inside of the circle with the jigsaw, because then I can go around with a flush trim bit and make sure that it actually fits. Yeah, pop the center out, and as you see there's a bit of a lip. So I get the flush trim router, or flush trim router bit, put it in the flush trim, and just run it around. Nice and slowly, nothing too exciting. But it just makes just that bit of difference, just to do it nice and neat. And now that I've got it all nice and neat, round over bit, and we'll just put a round over on the top side, which will help the ball slide into the wall. Now that we've got our feet at the 15-degree angle, it's how we're going to secure it. My first idea was to actually router a rebate in the base of the top, or the bottom of the top, and glue them in that way. But I thought, no, I might mess up with the router. So what I decided to do was, I was going to drill through and screw them into position. This is not a fine bit of furniture. It is a stand for a dog's bone. Yes, I'm practicing. Yes, I'm learning as I'm going. And yes, I do actually make this up as I go along. So just marking out exactly where the feet are going to go, marking a line on where the centre of the foot is going to be. And I can work out from my drill holes there. Double check, that's going to be where, on the centre of where I want it to be. Centre it into the board, and then I can mark both ends so I know that I'm not going to drill holes that are going to be sticking out or too close to the edge of the foot. It takes a bit of time, so I've sped this up for you. Now, we need to drill some pilot holes for the screws, but obviously the screws don't want to go straight down, because if they go straight down they're going to stick out the side of the foot. So I just took a marking gauge there, got the angle, which is the 15 degrees, tightened it up, and now I can use that to guide roughly the right angle for the pilot hole. So, quick starter point. Put the drill roughly to that angle. You can tell I'm making this as I go along anyway. And then go through. My first idea was actually to put it on the drill press and put the plate at 15 degrees. However, I couldn't actually get the plate. I got the plate at 15 degrees, I just couldn't actually gear it so that it would actually go right through it. But what I did here, I thought, right, I don't want nasty screws sticking out at the top. So I got a larger drill bit, the same size as my medium dowels. Quick bit of tape on as a mark, so I don't go too deep. And then I drilled the top of the holes to accept wooden dowels. That you'll see help with the finish. Now the only screws I could actually find that were long enough and that were going to do this job were actually decking screws. So all I'm doing here is I'm just putting the screws in just so the very tips stick out of the other side, and then I can use that in tips as a mark. No, turn around. Yeah, that's better. Now if it had the foresight, you can see where I've got dog holes in my table. If I'd actually used a couple of them dogs, it would have been a lot easier to hold and mark this, but when you're in the moment, you're in the moment. Get it as close as I possibly can to where I want it to be. Hold it. I need to give it a quick tap, so out with the small adjustment tool. And what that does is it gives me 4 impressions on the piece that I want to drill. I'm going down in line with the drill bit. Yeah, snap it. Change that one. So going straight down the piece of wood. So you still have to lay down. Still out. Hold the tool. I didn't want to put any glue on it at this point, and in the end I didn't put any glue on it at all. I was just going to try and go for a dry fit and keep it nice and simple. In fact, drive the screws warm. Now remember they're going in at that 15-degree angle. Exactly the same on the other side. This time I was a bit smarter. Place it down flat, put the leg on the top and give the leg a tap. That's probably the way I should have done it in the first place. As you see, my video making skills are not the greatest. I want to see my back. There we are. Now what we can do is a dab of glue in each of the holes. Because remember, I've countersunk them with a larger drill bit to allow me to put some dowels in. There's dowels and holes, tap tap tap. Same with the rest. give it a little bit of time to dry. Once the glue's dried, come back with a flush trim saw. Now these flush trim saws, you can get them on Amazon, they're very cheap, and it helps so much. Just to bend into position so they practically do go perfectly flush. But however, if they're not perfectly flush, it's no real matter, but all you do is you hit it with the sander. And put sand on the top, bring them down to level, and give it a quick sand all around. Well, you can see it doesn't exactly stick. But sand all around. Putting a dab of glue in the little cracks, there's these little holes. If you put dab of glue in and then sand again, all the dust extractions on, it actually stays in the little. And tricks like that can make you look a lot better woodworker than you actually are. Well, makes me a lot better, look a lot better woodworker than I actually am. Quick hand sand, and we can try the bowl. Now that bowl, I miscalculated. I should have actually made the hole a bit bigger. But I thought, you know what? I think there's another bowl somewhere. I'll have a look, see if there's one, but in the meantime we'll give it a finish with hand sand. Right guys, these wee jobs are just to take your mind off whatever stresses you're having. Actually standing there and doing a bit of sanding and working something out, it gives you a chance to clear your head and you don't have to think about anything else. There's the other ball I found. I thought that looks a lot better, that fits a lot better. It sits in nice. And you see, Axel sees I has a bowl, so Axel has to see what's in the bowl. And that's it. That's all it takes. Bit of sand and bit of finish. I didn't actually put any finish on this, I've just left it as it is. And there you have it, a wee dog stand for the dog feeding bowl. It raises the bowl up off the ground so it doesn't get kicked about, and not only that, it actually helps with the dog when he's eating. He's not really having to bend over to get it. So if you've liked the video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment and share if you can, please. Would be most appreciated. And thank you for this, and I'll see you next time.